Sam, very nice to speak to you today. Can you tell me a little bit about your role and the data that you've been collecting and showing to the public?
Yes, of course. So I'm Deputy Director of the Copernicus Climate Change Service, and this is a European funded service that's run by ECMWF, which is an international weather organization. And we are a European funded program which release free and open climate data to enable people to understand how our climate is changing.
And what sort of data have you been collecting this year? It's obviously had quite a bit of media interest, hasn't it? Can you tell me a little bit about what you're seeing?
Yeah, it really has. So obviously we've been monitoring the climate for a very long time, not only us, but other data centers around the world. And what we've seen in 2023 is that this year has been very different. So we've had now 6 record-breaking months. So the warmest June, July, August, which has led to the warmest summer on record globally. And then we've also had the warmest September, October, and November. So now the warmest autumn globally on record as well. And when we look at the temperature anomalies, so how far the temperature this year deviates from normal, we're seeing record deviations. So the anomalies or the departures from the climate normal state are bigger than anything we've seen in over 150 years of climate data and climate data recording.
I mean, that sounds really scary, doesn't it? And I've been one of the people alongside many who've been looking at your graphs and feeling obviously very worried about them. How confident are you that these trends are real? And do we have any idea what's causing them this year to be so much higher than we've seen?
Yes, so first and foremost, 100% confident that they're real. So our data is a combination of observations and model data. And the observations that we bring into our model are from satellites, from weather stations on the surface of our planet, from the air, and from the ocean. So this is combined with a model to ensure that we can assimilate it and map data everywhere. So it's a 30-kilometer gridded product. But our data set agrees with all the other international data producing centers. So we're all confident that we're recording changes in our climate accurately to 100th of a degree. And when we look at the changes this year, in general, the land surface is warming up faster than the global average. And the Northern Hemisphere, particularly Europe, is warming up faster than other land areas. And the Arctic area is warming up fastest of all. But what we're seeing this year is there's a lot more heat content in the surface ocean. So we're seeing rapid increases in surface ocean heat content. And that's led to a number of extreme marine heat waves around the world. And these are continuing. We also have the developing El Nino, which creates higher sea surface temperature conditions in the Pacific Basin. And all of these combine to show record temperatures at a global level.
And why do you think it's so much worse this year? I mean, obviously, we're very grateful for the fact that your centre is doing this work so we can see how much worse things have got in 2023. But is this just an anomaly, or do you think it's a sign of things to come?
That's a really important question, and one that we don't have a good answer to yet. So when we look at the contribution of different factors that influence our climate, by far and away, the biggest contribution is greenhouse gas concentrations in the atmosphere. So we know that's playing the biggest role in warming up our climate and warming up our atmosphere and oceans. However, there's a number of other factors, such as natural variability. So the El Nino that I mentioned before, this has a warming effect on global climate, particularly the year after it develops. So we're expecting even warmer temperatures next spring in 2024 than what we're having right now. And we also had the volcanic eruption in Tonga, Hunga Tonga, about a year ago now, and that released a huge amount of water vapor into the atmosphere. And water vapor is also a greenhouse gas, so this also plays a small contribution. But ultimately, it's a combination of factors, and these lead to feedbacks as well. And what we're seeing is this real change in sea surface temperature conditions means that the ocean is changing. Whether this is a change that's an anomaly that will go back to its normal state, We're not sure yet, but we're certainly studying it, as are many other scientists around the world, to really understand if this is a step change or if this is just a deviation in the natural variability as part of our climate system.
And finally, given what we're seeing, and obviously as you're telling me, we need to keep looking at this and listening to what climate scientists are telling us into next year. How do you stay positive in the face of doing this work and having to, look at these trends day in, day out?
Yeah, sometimes it's really tough. Last week when it came out that the president of COP says there's no scientific evidence of climate change or of humanity's impact on the climate, that can be really disheartening. But equally, I work a lot with the media and I engage a lot with decision makers. And there's more and more resonance across society of the importance of climate data, the impacts that extreme events are having on society, and how to make sure we can adapt and manage those impacts in the future. So that makes me hopeful. And I think there's a lot of things that we can do. And if climate is an issue that's important to you, then firstly, talk about it. Talk about it with your friends and family, and talk about it with how you choose to spend your time and your money. So look at ways that you can reduce your footprint on this planet and how you can support others to prioritize climate as an issue.
Fantastic. Thank you ever so much, Sam, for talking to us.
You're very welcome. Thanks for the chat.